Today on Northern Revolutions, we're going to talk about autographed albums. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome to Northern Revolutions. I'm Rob. Welcome back if you're returning. Welcome if you're new. I thought I'd do a quick video today showcasing a bunch of my autographed albums. I have a lot of autographed stuff around my music room, but I've got a lot of autographed albums as well. So I thought I'd show you some of them today. I always like buying autographed albums just because I love the idea that the artist that, I love so much has touched the physical medium that I then own. It sounds kind of corny, but I just like that there's that sort of tangible connection. Ideally, I'd love to get autographs in person, but a lot of the ones I've bought through artists' web stores because I haven't met them in person. And a lot of the ones that I have done in person, unless you're really into Canadian music, you probably won't mean much to you. Nevertheless, I'm going to bore you and show them to you. Or at least I hope I don't bore you. So stick around and I'll show you what I've got. As I showed in the intro, I've got this Bangles release called Ladies and Gentlemen, the Bangles. It was a pre-fame compilation. I bought this from the Bangles web store. It's signed by Susanna Hoffs, Vicky Peterson, Debbie Peterson, and Annette Zelinskas, who was the original bass player. I actually have two copies of this. I have another one framed on my wall. I bought this. It arrived, and the corners were all dinged up. I emailed the web store, and I didn't complain, but I mentioned that I wasn't thrilled, and they sent me a brand new copy for free. So I have two copies of this signed by the original Bangles. I've shown this record before. This is Whitehorse, awesome Canadian husband and wife duo. This is their album Leave No Bridge Unburned. This is their Kickstarter version of the album. It's signed by Luke and Melissa. Fantastic. Juno nominated album of the year. This is a band called the Strumbellas. This is their second album from 2013 called We Still Move on Dance Floors. This was before they made it big in the States. They had an album called Hope. There was a song in there called Spirits, which is annoying as hell. And got stupid amount of radio airplay. Anyway, this was before they were famous, and this is signed by two members of the band. This is Bryan Adams' most recent album, So Happy It Hurts. This is signed. I hate when artists do this and they don't sign the jacket. What they give you is they give you signed insert. It looks the same as a jacket. Bryan signed it down here with the year, 2022. I get why they do this for logistical ease of getting the artist's signature, but I want the actual album jacket signed. But nevertheless, Bryan Adams, So Happy It Hurts. I mentioned this band before, the Sadies. Few members of the VC have shown their new album, Colder Streams, which just came out. This is their previous album, Northern Passage. This is signed by everybody: Travis Good, Mike Boletsky, Sean Dean, Dallas Good. I obtained this in person. I've met the Sadies a few times. Wonderful guys. This is especially significant now that Dallas Good has passed away, so you're not going to get a Dallas Good autograph now. So I mentioned this artist in my video yesterday, which was a Vinyl Community Thread, Spell Your City. Lindy Ortega. This is her album Little Red Boots, which was her second album. She signed it here, Dear Rob. I met Lindy. She was playing in Waterloo, Ontario and a friend of mine was opening for her, so I went and saw the show, and that's actually how I became a Lindy Ortega fan. So, Lindy Ortega and Little Red Boots. I've talked about this album before in my perfect albums video. This is Matt Mays from Burnside with Love. I think this is the perfect live record. It's signed by Matt. Right here, you can see his signature. I didn't obtain this in person. Bought this, pre-ordered it off his web store. I have met Matt in person and got his autograph, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. This is Natalie Hemby. She's a singer-songwriter in Nashville. She's one of the members of the female supergroup, I guess, the Highwomen. This is her debut release, which just came out at the end of last year, called Pins and Needles. And this is signed. I bought this off her web store. This one is a record that's been shown around the VC in the last few weeks. This is Dawes' new record. It's called Misadventures of Doom Scroller. This is the sort of salmon colored version. Like the Bryan Adams record, it came with a signed insert. Sign the damn cover. Again, I get the logistics. It came with this insert. It's signed. A couple of the signatures are very hard to read because their Sharpies were running out of ink, but it's Dawes' new album signed. Well, we're showing Dawes. This is their album, Good Luck with Whatever, which was 1 or 2 albums ago. I guess last album, this was 2020. This is signed as well. I bought this off their web store too. The next one is a record I've shown, I think I showed it in one of my very, very early videos. I think it was the Vinyl Tag video. I need to ramble on more about how awesome Adam Baldwin is. Singer-songwriter from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Very sort of Bruce Springsteen-esque. Anyway, this is his EP from 2013, but it just came out on vinyl last year. And this is a signed copy. I did order this from his web store, though I've met Adam a bunch of more times than I can count. Super cool dude. For those of you that have seen my room tour video, this will look familiar as well. I do have a bunch of autographed albums on my wall. The first is a copy of Fleetwood Mac's self-titled album signed by Mick Fleetwood, John McVie, and Lindsey Buckingham. This was an eBay purchase, but it is authenticated. This is my only Beatles autograph. This is Pete Best, the original drummer. This is his album, The Beatle That Time Forgot. I hope someday to have other Beatles autographs, but for now, that's the only one I have. There's Grace Potter's solo album, Midnight. I bought this off her web store. Again, I've met her and have other stuff that she signed in person, but this was off the web store. Blue Rodeo's Are You Ready? I'm not going to talk much about this because I'm going to do a Blue Rodeo video at some point. Another Blue Rodeo, It Stays in Between. Again, I'll talk about that in an upcoming video. There's that framed Bengals record we talked about. This is Moondog Matinee by the band, signed by Robbie Robertson. Again, an eBay purchase, but it's authenticated. And lastly, Best of the Beach Boys. It's signed by Mike Love and Al Jardine. I'd love a Brian Wilson autograph one of these days, but it is what it is. I'm happy with this. Again, another eBay purchase, but it's authenticated as well. Moving on to some CDs now. This is a band called Blackie and the Rodeo Kings. And this is from, oh boy, 1999 was when this album originally came out. This is Kings of Love. These guys are amazing. Colin Linden, very famous record producer. Stephen Fearing and Tom Wilson. I met all of these guys and they signed this in person for me. The next album is, I think, an incredible album that no one's ever heard. This is Kendall Carson, All Right Dynamite. Kendall Carson is a now fairly recognized Canadian fiddle player. She plays with Alan Doyle. This was her solo record from 2009, where she signed it for me there. I've also got Kendall's first record, which is called Rearview Mirror Tears. And she signed the insert. Again, signed the damn cover. Anyway, she signed that and it says, "To Rob, such a pleasure to spend a sunny Toronto afternoon with you, Kendall." I mentioned Matt Mays. This is album Coyote, which I think won a Juno for Album of the Year from 2012. He signed this for me in person when I saw him in Hamilton Place. Unfortunately, this was a show I won't forget. This was 3 nights before his guitar player Jay Smith took his life, but yeah, it was a great show. Anyway, Matt Mays. I've mentioned on my channel before, there's a great Canadian roots folk rock, roots folky folk, freaky folk, whatever you want to call it, band called the Skydiggers. I've got an autograph poster right there. I have a lot of autograph stuff by them because I've seen them a bunch of times, and my friend's the drummer. That poster there is from their tour Northern Shore. Well, this is the album Northern Shore. This is the deluxe edition. And this version happens to be signed by everyone in the band. I also have their #1 Northern album signed. And they did a retrospective, a live retrospective called All of Our Dreaming, which was 3 different live shows from 3 different decades with 3 different lineups of the band, and I have that signed. Another band I've mentioned on my channel before is a guy named Dustin Bentall, who I know. His father is the Canadian musician Barney Bentall from Barney Bentall and the Legendary Hearts. I've got to know Dustin. I've seen him many times. This album I wish was on vinyl. It is amazing. It's called 6 Shooter. This was the first time I saw him, and I got it signed. That's his signature there. I mentioned Kendall Carson a while ago. She signed it there. This guy here is Del Cowsill. If that name sounds familiar, yes, he's one of the Cowsills, the band that the Partridge Family is based on, and they had some hits back in the '60s, Hair and what's that? The Rain and something. Del's dad was Billy Cowsill. So, and I know Del as well. I mentioned before a musician named Alan Doyle. I've talked about him on my channel before. People may have heard of a band called Great Big Sea. They were a Newfoundland folk pop rock band that disbanded years ago. Alan was the front man for that. This is his EP, Back to the Harbor, which is signed. I bought this off his web store, but I've met Alan several times in person and have his autograph on a set list and some other stuff. So the next one is a band most people have heard of. This is the band Perry. This is autographed by all 3 members of the band. This was, as I understand it, this was a Target exclusive that there was X number of copies that Target had. So not particularly rare. I've not met them. I would like to meet Kimberly Perry someday. We've also got some autographed albums hanging on my wall. The first one here is Taylor Swift's Lover. Go ahead and laugh if you want. Yeah, I got some autographed Taylor stuff. I bought this from the web store when it went for sale. I placed some order for some stuff for my wife, so I ordered it too. What the hell? This is Bryan Adams' album Shine a Light. This is autographed. I think it was a Amazon UK exclusive. It's numbered 194 of, I think there was like 2,000 of them signed. This is the Bangles' last album, which I think came out in about 2009. It's called Sweetheart of the Sun. There was only 3 members of the band at this point because Michael Steele had retired. So it's Susanna, Debbie, and Vicky. And this is signed by them, and I bought it from the band's web store. That's Taylor Swift's Folklore, signed, bought it from the web store. Why not? She's one of the biggest artists on the planet. And I think, actually, this is a great album. This is one of my favorite bands, Grace Potter and the Nocturnals. This was the single, Aw Mary. This was signed by Grace and Matt and Scott Turnay and the original bass player, Brian Dondero. I bought this off eBay, but I have met Grace Potter. and Scott Tournay, and I have the other stuff signed by them. There you go, folks. There's just a look at some of the autograph stuff that I've accumulated album-wise over the years, not including all the autograph stuff on my walls. I have a ton of autographed Blue Rodeo stuff. I'm going to do a separate video on my Blue Rodeo collection at some point in time. That's everything for me today, everybody. Catch you on the flip side. Thanks for watching.